Hey, hello there folks, me RGB from RJBTV, and let's turn on the music for a little bit of the atmospheric background sound as we are diving into game number 3 here with Byul and Zone, who have been duking it out for 2 games already so far. They're having a little chat there. I don't know what they're saying. I wish I knew what they're saying. I say that all the time, but I still have not bothered learning Korean. I mean, I do know what the signs sound like, which is kind of like I just learned the alphabet. Let's put it like that. It's a phonetic alphabet. That's all I learned. And I don't know what all of these words actually mean. I should really put some effort into that at some point, at some time. It would be fun to be able to read Korean. So yeah, they're having a nice little chat. We got Zone here back on the Protoss, and we have Byul on the Zerg. We'll quickly hotkey that location so we can jump back and forth quite easily. Yeah, so far, Zone looked a little bit underwhelming in the first game, but that was largely because Byul was just countering all of his moves with expert precision, without mistake, just locked in. And then in game number 2, Zone locked in himself, and he was just bringing Byul the pain, laying down the law. He was not gonna let Byul get away with cutting corners again, because in the first game, Byul got away with every single corner he cut. But this time around, Zone is looking to punish Byul for his hubris, for his arrogance, so to speak. I mean, Byul did earn his stripes. He is one of the best players in history of fastest map. He's proven himself time and time again by beating every single player there is, including the very best, including the very worst. Everyone from top to bottom has been defeated by Byul at some point. But I would still say that Brain is likely the number 1. I still say that is likely to be the case, but Byul is right there at the top, sitting comfortably, not planning on going away anytime soon. As you can see, he still has to fight for his spot. Like, even though he's comfortably sitting there because he's not been toppled yet, he is still fighting to maintain that spot because players like Zone are breathing down his neck, waiting for Byul to show a sign of weakness, a moment where his judgment is lapsing, to push him off that cliff and become the king. So we have Byul there on the Zerg going for kind of a late sunken in the front. He went for a hatchery, pull hatchery, one single sunken, and that single sunken came up quite late because Zone is doing a pretty lousy job of finding him, although I do think he's found him by now because he scouted that front side and the Zelts are now on the way across the map. He needs something in the back here to protect himself against the 2. The Zerglings are actually returning back towards the choke point because he only has 1 sunken against 4 Zealots. He needs the Zerglings here to survive, because if those Zealots were there without the Zerglings being present, Byul would probably just die and lose the game. So he has to buy himself a little bit of time by blocking just a little bit to allow himself to get a couple more Zerglings operational to help him protect those drones, because if drones do go down, the game is over. In which case, Zone would have won very quickly. So instead of sending the Zerglings to counterattack and annoy the probes that Zone has, he's deciding to protect his own. Like, you can already see it. Byul is really suffering here. This is already pretty advantageous for Zone. So 9 drones against 21 probes. He went for a quick second Nexus, getting a Cyber Core, no Forge. Okay, he gets a Forge right now. And Byul still has to keep his Zerglings here at his choke point. And he's just at this point going to try to drone up while trying to protect his choke point with hopefully the least amount of Zerglings and Sunkens possible. Because if he adds anything more than this, he might actually lose too much economy in the back and still fall behind even more on Zone. So right now, he's playing a game. Well, I'd say it's a little bit of a risky of what he's doing. Like, some players would decide to maybe add a couple more Sunkens on top of the 3 already had at this point. Byul is playing a very, very close game. He's walking the line tightly. He's not going across the line, he's staying right on top of it. Zone, though, is going for a fast Cyber Core, adding a start port. Robotics facility, I mean. Got the cannoneer up in the front to help him maintain his position. One more Sunken there coming up in the front for Byul. Byul has no vision of the middle. He's got no vision of the choke point either because the Overlord moved away a little bit. He has vision on the 7 o'clock base to send his drones to safety. He's getting vision on the bottom and on the top against drops because you really do need vision. Okay, zone goes in and it looks like Byul might have finished his Sunkens just on time. 2 more are morphing and he has to buy some time. He's keeping the Zerglings in the back to allow his Sunkens to soften up the Zealots first and then sends the Zerglings in just to buy a little bit more time. And as you can see already, like, Byul was really cutting it close. Really cutting it close. It was the additional Zergling control and 2 more Sunkens morphing while the fight was happening that allowed him to survive. If he added anything less, we probably would see Byul dying at this point in time. But Byul cutting it really close, walking the line very tightly, has actually worked out in his favor. Got support beyond the way there for zone and his shuttle as well, getting level 1 armor. He's going to armor first, not attack. And I think that is because he wants to keep the drops alive for longer. Likely going to go for a double Reaver. He might fly the Zealots into Byul's base. Byul now on 31 drones. He's droned up quite nicely on a very small amount of hatcheries. He's adding 2 more hatcheries on the bottom there. He's on 30 now. He made, one of the drones turned into a hatchery, of course. He's getting speed first for the Hydralisks. You always want to get speed first, because with speed you can catch the shuttle drops. With range, the shuttle drops, if they have speed, will simply be way faster than your Hydralisks and just fly around them. If you get speed, the Hydralisks can more easily get into position to stop the shuttles from flying in, getting to your drones, allowing the Reaver or the High Templar and killing your economy, which means that you would lose the game. So he's going to do something really cute here, and that's build the Sunkens downwards across the corner, like right across the corner. But if Reavers decide to push over the front, they cannot hit the Sunkens around the corner because there's a little bit of coding going on in the game where these Reavers at this location, or all these locations actually, cannot shoot around these corners because of how the map is built on a fundamental level. So he's going to keep building those Sunkens downwards and upwards behind the corners. Going to make defending a lot easier, which will force Zone to approach the game a bit differently. But Zone can for sure hit the Sunkens there in the front. Like these 4 should be, maybe those 5, like these 5 can be hit by the Reaver, but this one and this one likely cannot get targeted by the Reavers. We have Zone denying vision by hanging his Corsairs right behind the hill on hold position so that when the Overlord moves across the hill, the Corsairs start shooting at it. This is quite important. He really want to limit the amount of vision that Byul has. Like, less vision means less reaction time to drops. The more vision you got, the easier it becomes to put your units into the correct positions to defend those drops. So level 1 attack around the way, and range for Hydralisk is also finished up. We're getting Overlord speed. Overlord speed to help him keep the Overlords alive against the Corsairs. We got another Corsair moving on the top side. We currently have 60 probes already. Zone has been producing probes super consistently. Getting another force, getting the Templar's Archive, which is slightly misplaced, which does bother me a little bit. In 5 games at the moment, drop flies in over the top side there. Byul is slipping up. Drop goes in very deep. Drones running to safety. That's good. Reaver kills some drones on the gas, which is still annoying, but that is like the least amount of damage he could have possibly taken from that attack. So this worked out extremely well for Byul. Currently on 7 in the back, 1 on the front, so 8 hatcheries in total. Getting a Spire because Byul really likes to transition into Scourge and Mutalisk to defend himself against the options Protoss has. Which is not a bad idea, honestly. I mean, he does have Corsairs, but the Corsairs are dying because they're getting pulled in. More drones are going to do minerals, a couple of them going to the gas. And here you can see the Reavers are struggling to really push forward. They crawl forward a little bit more, they take damage. It's just a targeting nightmare. You can see it right there, it's happening. For some reason, even though they're right there, you would think that they can shoot on this Sunken. But the coding on the map just stops them from hitting this Sunken without getting into range. So he's actually using the Dragoon, though he still cannot target it. He still cannot shoot on the Sunken. So yeah, Byul just really using the map to his advantage. Like every single player at the top of StarCraft on fastest map knows about this. Every single player knows. This is not a secret. Everyone knows you can do this. That's why quite often times you can see the Protoss going for mass Reaver shuttle drops, or just mass drops into the base instead of trying to break through the front door. Although breaking through the front door would be possible with this army. Like, if he gets Zealot Speed finished up very soon, level 1 armor is already finished up, level 1 attack is on the way, and shield level 1 is also on the way. If he gets those finished up very soon, it might still actually be possible for him to just break through this choke point with brute force. And he's in fact gonna do that. He's gonna do that. He goes in before Zealot Speed finishes up, so the Zealots do take way more damage than they should. The Reavers are having trouble targeting. It's gonna drop there on the top. It's gonna try to go and make it found by a Scourge. Gonna try to bring that Reaver shuttle to safety, right here back to the middle. And he's kept breaking through the front door, but it's not going as efficient as I would have hoped because the Reavers are having so much trouble shooting on the Sunkens, and now the Hydras from the back are coming to the front. Is he gonna lose this one? It stays alive. Okay, yeah. So the frontal attack did not go as well as I would have liked it to, because the Reavers were just struggling to actually shoot their load. They got in there quite deep, just not deep enough to shoot their load onto the Sunkens. And now Byul is on a small little counter attack, trying to break into the middle, but the Reavers are behind the Dragoons, waiting for the Hylids to step forward and get targeted down. Because the Reavers are just sucking so hard. The Reavers are just doing an absolutely terrible job. That's just the coding on the Reavers is absolutely working against him. And Byul now is breaking through zone. Maybe should not have pushed into the base like that. The Reavers did absolutely nothing at all, and Byul is just kind of pushing into the middle without too much problem. Reaver gets saved. That's big. Double Reaver gets saved. Now we can fire on the Hylids from a long distance, and this might actually turn this fight on the middle of a round. If the Reavers both do stay alive, one of them is going to go down to the Hylids. No, it's stayed alive. There's an HP. Going to target it down quickly. More Hylids coming from the base there. For Byul gets one down, takes the other round down, and that one escapes. Unloads it yet again from a further distance. This one might stay alive. Gets 3. Okay, that Reaver's going to stay alive. That Reaver is very important in keeping him in the game, because these are empowered and there's like Reavers are still pretty far away. The Reaver can get targeted down right now there though. So let's go for the top side there with level 1. We have 1 attack there for Byul on the Hydras, but level 2 attack at the moment. Lurkers are morphing there back at home. He's adding on a couple more hatcheries as well. Just continuously sending units in while also rebuilding his choke point at the same time. Byul's doing a great job multitasking, even though he's not spending all those minerals as soon as possible. He's doing a lot of things at the same time that are really important for him to do, because if the attack in the middle somehow fails, he will need a couple more Sunkens to survive the possible potential counterattack that might be coming in from Byul in the near future. The first need an observer here from zone to kill the Lurkers there in the front. I got 2 cannons are whopping in the top side. Zealots are still spawning there all around. I count about 7 gateways there on the middle. Byul's just having the time of his life. 60 drones now. 6 more hatcheries. He's expanding like a madman, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Eventually will be too big to stop, too big to handle, too big to fail. At first, okay, the Dark Templar was a great idea until I saw that Overlord there hanging in the front. Dark Templar not really doing that much. Observer is spawned though, so now we can target down the Lurkers. The Lurkers are awesome against Zealots. You really need Dragoons against this. You're back at home, got 80 probes. He needs a little more gas in the bank. He needs a couple more structures, but he's just trying to survive so badly here. All of his actions are going into staying alive, while Byul is kind of cruising along comfortably, getting really big, getting really problematically big. Wait, the drop comes in. Byul isn't responding. Byul actually did that. Oh, wow. Wow, so this happened. That happened. Like, this entire section, he's got vision everywhere. And that drone, the drop just flew right in there. Completely undetected. Even though it was flying right through all of his vision. That drop came at the worst possible time because his minerals are not that high. And this is actually an opportunity for Zone to regain control over the game. The Reavers are still being absolutely terrible at hitting the Sunkens. They just cannot shoot. They just cannot shoot. It's absolutely terrible. Like, maybe I can show you with a picture after the game, if I can find it, why that happens. Why that happens. It's really terrible. It makes no sense. Okay, I found a picture. I can show you right as the game ends why Reavers do that. Like, I can show you after the game ends why that happens. Okay, because it's quite important in understanding why this is happening. Eventually, he did break through just now, right here. He did break through. The Reavers finally did their job. They finally got into a spot on the map at this choke point where they can shoot on the Sunkens. Byul so far is trying to dodge a drop, and he dodges it successfully. He actually lost a little bit of HP on those drones. Like, drones are maybe the worst unit in the game to run through a storm. They usually die pretty much immediately, but they survive by a small little margin. He was just on time. Usually, those drones would be very, very dead. He got very lucky there. That zone just so happened to place the storm a centimeter too much to the right. Goes into the front there. Mules are trying to micro there in the sky. Zone is looking very strong. 72 against 80 workers. He's building a couple more sunks in the front, getting a couple more drones. He's currently mining from 6 gas, which usually isn't enough, but because he cannot really spend his minerals as quickly as he would like, because he doesn't have that many minerals, the 6 gas is doing a great job of sustaining his production. Observer's in the back. Observer gonna get taken down there by... It stays alive. He's gonna have to take down that observer right now. Oh god. Oh god, he's not taking down the observers. Oh, more observers are arriving on the scene. He took 2 of them down. 2 more are flying way past the... Okay, he's got 1 more in the back there. He has all the observer upgrades. There's a couple lurkers on the top side still helping him defend. Storm there on the high blizzard on the bottom. This is getting a little bit dicey because he slowly gets the observer there in the end. He just has to take down those 2 lurkers with a storm to help him secure the front of the base. Drop comes in over the bottom side there as well at the same time. Is Byul gonna respond to this one? Byul is not noticing it. He's focusing on the top one, and it's the bottom one that's the real drop. Gets a big storm off there. It goes from like 75 to 31 drones at the worst possible moment in the history of StarCraft. Because look at this, zone is right there knocking on his front door. Actually, the front door is already completely gone. It's demolished. There's nothing left of it. Except 2 lurkers fighting for their life. Although observers are now on the way. He's producing quite well. Just keeping up the pressure non-stop. And Byul really is fighting for his life. He is on 29 drones. He's running out of minerals. He hasn't noticed, or maybe he has noticed. He's noticed that his economy is absolutely toast. And he needs to get that observer. The lurkers are his last line of defense. Both lurkers surprisingly are outside of detection range. It's like the observers are okay. Gets vision on the bottom one. The top one is still there. Bottom one gets taken down. Gets surrounded on the Goonser on the middle. They got corpses on the top there, pushing vision away. Probes are being sacrificed for the greater good to get more supply space. Great storm on the mutas. Couple mutas do go down, and he's... Ooh, this is getting quite sweaty. Byul is giving it everything he's got, and everything he's got is not that much. We got a 40... we got like double the supply here from Zone compared to Byul. Byul is really fighting for his life. He's doing better than I thought he would. But Zone with his superior upgrades, he's on 2-1-2. We got 0-2 there for Byul. He cannot afford any more upgrades. He has Visioner in the base. You can see exactly what's going on, and it's not much that's going on. We've got a couple highlights there, but he's just waiting to run him over. Like, all Zone has to do at this point in the game is just keep sending, make Byul run out of money, make him run out of gas, because he cannot afford to build any drones. Like, he would like to build drones, but pretty much everything he's got has to go into micro and hylisks. Zone just had a couple of really good drops. It had absolutely terrible timings for Byul, and in the end, Byul lets the drops slip through, even though he had vision everywhere on the entire map. So Zone just played a really solid rinse and repeat. Pressure to front, send in the drop, and repeat the process. He even did a couple of double drops to make it even harder for Byul to have oversight of what is happening. It's difficult to defend the front, defend against a shuttle, and defend against a shuttle coming from a third direction. It's difficult to do. There's just so many things happening at the same time. You gotta prioritize, and sometimes, as you could see, he prioritized the wrong shuttle, lost all of his drones on the money, on the minerals, and just ran out of resources. So Zone played that really well. Zone was just purely focused on attacking and producing. He didn't really build that much. We got 6, 7 kills on the middle, and we got about 7 here back at home. That's 14. It's not a lot. One starport really did its job. That starport really helped him out a lot. His base here back at home is a mess, but he's got forges, he's got Temple's Archives, got a robotics there as a backup. The 4 robotics are in the front. It's really not about how much or how many production buildings you have, like gateways or stargates or robotics. It's about how you use it. And Zone has proven yet again that, you know, he is really good at using his units. The more pressure you put on, the higher your chances are of winning. And now I'm going to show you the picture that I wanted to show you of why it's so damn hard to, let me insert that picture. I gotta save the picture first, actually. Save the picture. I want to show you, because this is really important in understanding why the Reavers suck. Let's put it like that. Why the Reavers are sometimes just super bad. Let me see. Okay, yeah, you can see it right there on the screen. Let me just hide the StarCraft so it's a little bit easier to see and move it to the middle. Okay. Why does it happen? Okay, so allow me to explain. It's a little bit difficult to show, actually. Okay, so if a Reaver, you see these yellow boxes, right? Like, this is not the best way of showing this, actually. Not the best way of showing this. Let me go to Paint. In Paint, I can more easily show you why this happens. I just really quickly get Paint. I forgot what I had to click on OBS. Window capture, that's it. Window capture. The capture 2. Select a window, MS Paint, and we're in MS Paint. Now I can show you why it happens. Okay, so we're opening MS Paint. Let me just quickly increase the size of this thing. Okay, so we're looking at this. This is why sometimes I hate Paint so much. So this is the choke point that we're looking at. All right. I'm gonna explain you why Reavers can't shoot. If the Reaver is right here, it can shoot into a target that is inside the yellow box adjacent to it. So the Reaver can shoot into this box. Anything that's in this box is a target the Reaver can shoot on, because the boxes connect. Same with if the Reaver is right here. You can shoot into this box and hit every single target that's in here, because the Scarab functions as a pathfinding unit, is an independent unit. So it's about, can the Scarab connect or pathfind to the target? But now, if the target is, let's say, right here in this box, and the Reaver is right over there, the Reaver cannot shoot into this box, into this big, large yellow box. It cannot shoot there. The Reaver has to crawl right to this part, where part of the Reaver is inside this yellow box in the middle. Because at that point, the Scarab can find a path towards this box right here. The Scarab cannot pathfind or find a path if it's not in a connecting box. That's just something in the coding happened, an oversight or whatever, and it just can't shoot. It has to be right there. But as a result of having to be inside of this mailbox in order to target this box there on the left, it will be within range of the Sunkens, because the Sunkens will be right here. And it messes up the Reaver. And the same happens here. you have to be right over there to shoot on that target. It's just you could say it's a complete mess. These choke points are a complete mess, but there's literally nothing in the world you can do to change these areas. These areas are just part of the game. They're just part of the coding of the game. These pathfinding areas. And it just makes these choke points an absolute nightmare to push through with Reavers, specifically Reavers. Everything else works perfectly fine, but the Reavers are a nightmare. And that is exactly what was happening in the game. Exactly this. That's just the one thing that I wanted to share with you because it is quite important in understanding what the hell was going on. And I hope this makes sense. I just hope this makes sense. If you want to hit something right here, you gotta be somewhere around this section or this section. It's all messed up. It's super messed up. Anyway, that was the game. So let's go back to Zone against Byul and put the score there. 2 for Zone, 1 for Byul. We're going to be returning very soon with game number 4 between these two players. So far, they have been at each other's throats, producing top level content.